up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Lexi. Thank you for joining. So I am excited for today's video because you guys get ready. It is another shit they don't tell you about bikini prep video, and today I'm talking all about show day. So for those of you who are new here and don't already know, I am a bikini competitor. I am also a coach, so I do coach bikini competitors as well. But besides the point, I started a series, I think probably 5 months ago, maybe longer than that, called Shit They Don't Tell You. This is kind of just my way of talking about this side of bikini prep that not everybody talks about. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on these videos. So the first video I did was Shit They Don't Tell You about bikini prep, and I just talked about some of the not so glamorous parts about being in bikini prep for a bodybuilding show. And then I did a Shit They Don't Tell You about bikini prep, and I talked about the cost. And then the last video I did in this series was the shit they don't tell you about off season. So today we are talking about the shit they don't tell you about show day. So got my little energy drink. We're good to go. All right, you guys. So in true Lexi fashion, I always make a list. Otherwise, I will absolutely forget what I am going to say. So we're going to run through this list, and I hope you guys who have competed before can kind of attest to some of these things I'm about to say. But I'm essentially going to tell you guys, all of the shit they don't tell you about show day, actual show day when you are competing. And if you do want to see kind of how a show goes, how a show day goes, I do have 2 vlogs from back in July and August from when I competed, and I did document the day, so you can go back and watch those. But we're going to talk about the shit they don't tell you about show day. So the first thing I want to talk about is show day is going to be a really early morning. So most times, most shows will start around 9 a.m., maybe 10 a.m., but you're going to have to wake up pretty early on show day. The earliest I've had to wake up on show day, which this is a little extreme, I'm not saying this is very normal, but 2:20 a.m. was the earliest I had to wake up for a show day. It was because I had my makeup at 3 a.m. and I actually had to drive to go get my makeup done. Not ideal, but I enrolled for that show super last minute, so that's the only time the makeup artist could get me in. But I have seen makeup artists before that will have girls scheduled for makeup at like 3, 3:30, 4, 4:30. So show day is not one of those days where you're just gonna get to kind of wake up and sleep in, right? You're oftentimes gonna have to wake up pretty early. It may not be 2:20 a.m. early, but it's probably going to be pretty early. So that is the first thing that I don't feel like a lot of people talk about when it comes to show day. So you wake up super early. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about with show day is just there's a lot of waiting, and I want to elaborate on this. So, I find that you wake up really early. Sometimes it seems very rushed in the morning, when you're getting your hair done, when you're getting your makeup done, when you're putting on that final coat of tan, when you're doing all of those last minute things to get ready for stage in the morning, it can seem very go, go, go and super rushed, right? But when you actually get backstage and when you actually, wait to get on stage, and then that period between when you get on stage and then when you go back on for finals later in the day, there is a lot of waiting. Show day is, like I said, it's very fast paced in the morning, I feel like, because you have athlete check-ins typically, or not check-ins, I'm sorry, there's usually an athlete meeting that you have to be at, and then you have to, figure out when you're gonna get your hair done, your makeup done, and, go get your last coat of tan and put your suit on and put all those finishing touches together, right? But then you actually get backstage and it is a lot of waiting. So specifically backstage, typically depending on when the show starts, maybe it's 9 a.m., you aren't gonna go on stage right at 9 a.m. You're probably gonna go backstage, and depending on how big of a show it is, you're going to go on, it could be a couple of hours. I've had shows where I've literally had to sit backstage for 4 hours waiting to go on stage. So let me explain that a little bit. If you are new here and you've never competed, let me explain a little bit about how it works regarding the order of which you're going to go on stage. So if you are competing at a standard show that has male and female competitors, the males are always going to go first. So just because a show starts at 9 a.m. does not mean you're going to go on stage right at 9 a.m. Most shows, in fact, I don't think I've been to a show that's been different. always has the men go first. So all of the men's divisions are going to go first, and then when all of their divisions are over, then they start with the females. But they usually start with figure, and then wellness, now that wellness is a thing, and then bikini. So bikini is the very, very last division to go on. So, I oftentimes say, and most show promoters are going to encourage that you are backstage when the show actually starts, but are you going to actually go on stage right when the show starts? No, you're probably going to go backstage. You're going to have a lot of waiting until bikini goes on, because that's just the name of the game. So if you are a bikini competitor, go backstage, make friends, bring your phone charger, because your phone may die. Bring some stuff to entertain yourself and just chillax, lay back, relax, because oftentimes depending on how big the show is, you may have to wait for like I've had to wait 4 hours before. That's a little extreme, but you're probably going to have to wait at least an hour or two, probably closer to around 2 hours or so before you actually get lined up to go on stage. And even when they line you up, and even when they say, okay, bikini, class, whatever, let's line up, typically that still means that there's another group that's going to go before you, so you have to wait. So it's a lot of waiting. And furthermore, not only backstage, but I want to talk a little bit about like the waiting time between prejudging and finals. So the majority of shows, about 90% of shows, are going to be broken up by prejudging in the morning and then finals at night. So you have this kind of like weird gap in the day, where if you go back and watch my show day videos, you'll see I just kind of do some like random things while, in between prejudging and finals. Like at one show, I actually drove home, and I went to Starbucks and I kind of just relaxed. And another show, my mom and I we went to Starbucks, and then she wanted to go to a boutique. So I feel like oftentimes competitors don't talk about like that weird kind of period between prejudging and finals, where you're literally just kind of waiting around, not really doing anything, because you can't really do anything, right? Like you're in full stage makeup and you're in all of your show day glam. Like you can't really go out and do anything besides just kind of like sit back and relax. So, although show day is very fast paced in the morning, it does seem like it's a lot of waiting. After you get on stage, it's a lot of waiting to get on stage, and then after you get on stage, and then again for finals at night. So that is another thing, or that is, I guess, number like 2 and 3 about shit they don't tell you about show day. Okay, so another point, I guess 3 or 4, I don't know, I'm not keeping track here, but another shit they don't tell you point about show day is, so show day is very early, but it's also typically going to get over very late. Again, this is going to differ for every show, but standard shows are going to get over pretty late, especially if it's a bigger show. Most of the time, finals is going to start at like 6 or 7. So, let's be realistic. If finals start at 7, and, prejudging took, let's say, 4 hours total, typically finals is going to be a little bit shorter, but it still may not get over till like 9:30 or 10, right? If you're lucky, your show may get over earlier, but oftentimes, like at my last show I did, I don't think I got out until 11. So by 11, I was just tired. I was hungry. I think I had a protein bar. That was my little treat on my way home. I did not want to go out because it was just so late, and I had already gotten up at like 2:20 a.m. I didn't want to stay out any later. So show day, while it's also very early, it also is typically very late. Again, this is going to be something that really has a lot to do with how big the show is. Obviously, smaller shows are just going to run a lot quicker, are going to get over earlier, whereas if you do a bigger show, those are going to tend to take longer and probably get over a little bit later. So comment below if you've ever competed where you've had a show that got over like super, super late. I want to hear from you guys. I think the latest that I've ever had a show get over is that was at the Tampa Pro last August 2021. I think it got over at like 11. So that was the latest I have ever experienced, but I want to hear if you guys have experienced anything similar as well. So comment below if you have. So next thing about shit they don't tell you about show day is peeing is annoying. Now let me explain. Going to the bathroom, peeing, it's very annoying on show day because, as I have talked about in past videos, when you get a show day tan, you can't just sit on the toilet and like pee like normal. If you sit on the toilet, you run the risk of smudging your tan, and you don't want that. B, if you just kind of like pee like normal, I don't know if this is TMI, but like, what if, you know, your pee may run down your leg and that's gonna run your tan. So whenever you go to the bathroom, when you have a stage tan on show day, typically the method I use is I'll take a cup, like a styrofoam cup, and that's what I'll pee into. That way I have a target and I can make sure it doesn't like go on my legs. I know, not so glamorous, but like, I don't know, I just want to make sure it's known this is something that you typically have to do. You have to be very careful about peeing on show day. So that is one of the things, that's probably my least favorite part about show day, is just having to like always think about that when I go to the bathroom. And I can tell you, like, one of my favorite things is after finals, being able to just like sit down on the toilet or not having to pee in a cup. So that is one thing that is a little, it's rather annoying, is that like you have to pee in a cup, and yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. I remember at my shows, like I said, between prejudging, my mom and I went to a boutique, and I remember I had to go to the bathroom, but I didn't have a cup with me, and I'm like, oh gosh, I need a cup to go to the bathroom, otherwise my tan may run. So that is one of the things, you know, I would definitely categorize that as a shit they don't tell you about show day, is peeing is just, it is annoying. Okay, so we are nearing the end of my little list that I made, but the next thing I want to talk about, well, I guess, let me see, did I hit on all of them? I talked about the early morning, the late nights, the backstage. Oh, okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is, the last thing, you know, when it comes to the shit they don't tell you about show day, is that, you know, stage time really does fly by. It is going to be over in a blink of an eye. So you really just have to get on stage, and you just have to relish the moment, love every second of it, because it really does fly by. And you know, when you think about it, we prep for so long, right, to get on stage for, you know, maybe a few minutes total. So it's a really short duration in the grand scheme of things, but it is magical. You know, I tend to kind of black out on stage, like black out in a good way, but I tend to get on stage, and you know, I just tend to kind of like, I don't know, live in the moment, and I don't even really remember it afterwards. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just did that. Like, it goes by so fast. You're not gonna be on stage for long. It's gonna seem like you're gonna get off stage and be like, whoa, I just did that, right? So it goes by so fast. The last thing actually I just thought of, this kind of funny, about shit they don't tell you about show day, is what I oftentimes find, and I don't know if this has happened to anybody else, but I always find that, so when you're getting on stage to do your individual routine, there will be somebody on stage assisting, and I oftentimes find that like they'll tell you, okay, go on stage, but I have had, like, I think the past 2 shows I've been in, they'll tell me, okay, go on stage, like start walking on to do your individual routine, when the other girl in front of me is still doing her routine, and I'm like, I don't want to be that person walking on stage and like kicking the other girl off. So I always find that that's kind of like awkward when they're like, okay, it's your turn to go on stage, but the other girl's still doing her routine. I'm always like, and they're like, no, go. And I'm like, okay. So that's probably the last little thing that I can think of when it comes to shit they don't tell you about show day. I didn't want to make this video like too lengthy, but hopefully it's long enough to be, you know, straight to the point, simple, and give you guys some laughs. Or maybe you're listening to this and you are a competitor and you're like, oh my gosh, I can resonate with every one of those things. If you're doing cardio, tag me. I always love my little cardio gang. I get so many people that tell me that they watch my videos when they're doing cardio. So I love to hear that. And then furthermore, if you guys have any little points about shit they don't tell you about show day, comment below. I'd love to hear those. And if you can resonate with any of the ones I talked about, comment below as well. But as always, give this video a thumbs up. Thank you if you've made it this far in the video. And you know, this is the 4th video I've made in this series called Shit They Don't Tell You about bikini prep. So if there are any topics you want me to talk about in future ones, because I definitely plan on making this a series in the future, or continuing this series. So far I've done shit they don't tell you about show day, shit they don't tell you about just bikini prep in general, shit they don't tell you about the cost of bikini prep, and shit they don't tell you about off season. So if there is another topic related to bikini prep that you want me to make for the next video in this series, comment below. I would love to hear your ideas. But if you are doing cardio, hopefully I helped kill some time during your cardio. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.